brought to you by IWC Radio.com. It's the internet's most irreverent wrestling podcast. Now, please welcome Beans, Smoot, Chucks, and Will. This is the IWC.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the IWC Radio podcast. With me today, I'm Smoot, Beans, and Will. Chucks is out on assignment this week for a change. What did he say? What did he say he was doing? Did he ever specify what Chucks was going? He just said he didn't clarify. He just said he was on assignment for some reason.
He's babysitting Jack for me.
So he's over there with you right now. You can just walk in the room and just be like, "Hey."
No. He's busy. He's busy. Get back to work, Chuck.
He's busy. All right, fair enough.
There's about 15 bottles that need sterilising there. Yeah. I was trying to think of tasks then, and for some reason I can't think of any more. Organise some nappies. Come on.
What's a nappy?
A diaper.
Oh, okay. Okay, I've never heard of it referred to as a nappy before.
Well, there it is. We have yet another. I'm amazed that we've been doing this for years and we still come across these comparisons between America and England for products and the different names that we have for them.
Did you hear the one this week, Beans? Did you get cream eggs over there, Smoot?
Sorry, I have what over here?
Sorry, do you get cream eggs over there?
Cream eggs, like the Cadbury eggs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, everyone's been saying it wrong all these years. It's a creme egg.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Because it's CREME.
Yeah.
Oh, give over. This is Blue Riband all over again.
Someone tweeted Cadbury's account and they replied back saying it's creme.
It really is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But the commercial always referred to it as a Cadbury cream egg.
Someone's lying to us.
Yeah, it's probably whoever's running that social media account.
I'm sorry, but as soon as you mention the cream eggs, I just have to have flashbacks to my youth with the spitting image advert. Don't know if you remember it, Will.
No, I don't.
Where they had the big thing for marketing where there was like, "How do you eat yours?"
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they had all the spitting image puppets of celebrities all doing it, and then you had Jonathan Ross, and as a kid, it just tickled me because they said "How do you eat yours?" and he's like, "I would pop the whapper, I will it around, and I will relish the creamy white interior."
All right.
That was a good impression.
So, there we go. That's educated Smoot even more. Now he's going to find out who Jonathan Ross is.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well.
I had because I've got earbuds in and it makes my own voice sound very strange. I had no idea how that came across. That might have sounded absolutely horrendous.
Like Elmer Fudd.
Oh, right. Great.
So
I'm going to deflect quite quickly by saying hello to Otaku in the chat.
There you go.
Hello.
The subject. Yeah, not much in the world of wrestling outside of talks of the Elimination Chamber, which we're going to get into in just a few moments. I think the other, I guess if you want to call it a major story, is the slumping attendance for Smackdown Live. You linked me a picture of this. I didn't know this was this bad. It looks like a TNA, just pretty much a TNA show back in the day. This is from @TheWrestleDaily. There we go. And they provided a couple of images from this past Tuesday, saying, "I honestly feel horrible for the talent on SmackDown Live because this isn't their fault. Something needs to change ASAP. #WWE." And there you see the other shot with the WrestleMania sign in the foreground, just to prove that it is indeed a real shot. That is something to be concerning about. WWE constantly brags that they, are hitting new records and you know, sales are fine and whatnot, but then you get images like these,
Mm.
and it just makes you wonder, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is just a SmackDown thing, though. I think this is WWE in general at the minute. I think Raw's probably not that way as much, but weren't they saying that the ticket sales for the Elimination Chamber was like something like 10,000 short of being a sellout?
Oof.
Yeah.
It's like an 18,000 seat arena that they've got for this Sunday, and I think they said that legitimate sales were standing at about 8,000.
I mean, you've got to think that's probably a big reason why they're changing the pay-per-views back to dual brands.
Definitely.
I don't think the whole brand separation's doing them any favors. I feel.
I think they've got to look at the ticket prices as well. The ticket prices, I don't know what they're like over there, but I know we don't get them as often over here, but they're just ridiculous.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm sure I heard somewhere that they said that recently they had raised the ticket prices for general sale in America, which was always a vast thing, because I could never believe how cheap it was to go to a show when we was over there.
Yeah.
If you looked at the prices in comparison to what we paid. Because, yeah, I mean, what we could pay about 65 quid for an average seat at a UK show. That's like $120 for America.
Yeah. Oh.
And I don't think that that's I mean, like, I remember I think it was Orlando, and they were selling tickets outside, and I think there might even still have been some general. And they're like selling them for like $10 a ticket. And it was like, I've paid about, well, at the time it was cheaper anyway, but I must have paid the equivalent of about $80.
I'm looking on the ticket page from Axis.com, and apparently they're offering like a buy one, get one free offer for the Chamber pay-per-view.
Wow, so they are desperate.
Yeah. How much? It's not giving me like an actual price from what I can see on the page, but yeah, it definitely seems like they are a kind of a little bit desperate to fill in the seats, you know?
Well, I mean, how desperate do WWE have to get before, you got people outside the arenas giving away free tickets like TNA did? Because at the end of the day, you take a hit on the small amount of sales for the arena, and you've got something to project on the network that doesn't look like it's got problems.
Yeah. Do you think, well, it seems obvious, are they trying to claim back what they've lost from the pay-per-view business? The crowd with charging more for the tickets?
Well, I think that there's an element to it to a degree. I mean, look at the pyro thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, they made the statement that it's not needed anymore, or it doesn't have that big an effect. But how many times do you watch a show every week and someone's holding up a sign saying, "I missed a pyro" or whatever? But it is also, you keep thinking, like, I'm actually wondering, like, what are they actually going to do at WrestleMania this year? Because I am actually wondering whether there's going to be very little fireworks at WrestleMania. I'm expecting there'll be more than regular, like, there'll be some, but I don't think it's going to be like previous.
Yeah. I think they've got to do it at Mania, but you're right, I don't think there'll be a lot of it.
So, on the page here, on the ticket page here, let me show you what seats are apparently still available.
Front row. On one side of the arena.
Here we are, yeah. The sides where it's like behind the announcer's position look like they're still available. Or actually, no, that would be the entrance ramp here. E and F. Because I'm guessing that's where that would be like where the Tron is, and then the aisleway and such. But section C over here, where it's like away from I presume the camera, and over by that little corner by the announcers, and then you have section 17, 14, 5, and 7 here, and such. The rest of the the gray areas here, I guess, are closed off or sold out. So that is kind of interesting to see.
And how much are they going for?
Especially when you consider like the ones that are directly opposite the Tron area.
Yeah.
Because you'd be thinking that they're probably one of the first to go. Although I'd be worried if I was high up, because that bloody WrestleMania sign would probably block everything.
Yeah. That's where 10 and 11 would probably have like the worst seating because of the sign.
What kind of prices are you talking there?
The prices are around $35 all the way up to $250.25. So if you're going for the I guess whatever PL2 represents, C and F, that's $250 right there. This is apparently $209, which $209 to be behind the WrestleMania sign, like right here, like no, come on. This is for $100. $86.75 for these three, and $35 for basically the nosebleeds up here. So that is pretty much what's available still, and they're still, I guess, having trouble. And this is one day before the show airs. Like, we're 24 hours away, and there's still this many seats and sections available. It's crazy.
Yeah, because you just assume that pay-per-views with WWE, that you know, I mean, all right, they might not sell out as quickly as they have done in the past, but you'd expect them to be full.
Oh yeah. Like, I would not. It's very unheard of to hear about a WWE pay-per-view not selling out. Like, honestly, especially again going back to how much they brag about, you know, their sales and such, that they shouldn't have problems selling out, you know, shows for Elimination Chamber, you know, Royal Rumble, stuff like that.
And I kind of wonder though, like, how like, you think at the minute we're supposed to be on the road to WrestleMania. We're in what, the end of February now?
Yeah.
And you're thinking normally, like, you know, the week after the Rumble, there's normally a few things start coming together, or during the Rumble, you've got a good idea of what's going on. And I don't know, this year seems really kind of downbeat.
Yeah. It's just, it's like it's lacking something, you know.
And it's
sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, when you think of Mania itself, you're thinking what? You're probably going to be getting Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. You're going to be getting Shinsuke Nakamura and AJ Styles. You're probably going to be getting Cena and Undertaker. So you're thinking, well, there is big matches there. But because nothing's kind of set in stone, and they've not really kind of done much teasing of much else. I don't know, it just doesn't feel the same way this time, and maybe that's a reflection with the ticket sales.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is as well, actually, when you think about it, what's quite crazy with this is it's Las Vegas. So you're thinking, you know, people in the area, you know, it's Las Vegas, so you go, you know, you want to see shows when you're there. So
yeah.
You'd imagine that Las Vegas is the last place you'd be struggling for ticket sales. Plus, also, this is the event that Ronda Rousey's supposed to be signing a contract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with Las Vegas kind of being a home to UFC, you'd think people would be more on board with that.
That's what I mean. You just like, you know, legitimately Ronda Rousey is, you know, a bona fide star. So I found it very interesting when she was mentioned on the show last week and people booed. And it's just like, is this lady even going to get like a chance? Or is she just going to come out and then like stumble over a promo and she's never going to be able to recover from it?
Oh, God. If she has like that type of moment, she's dead in the water. Like, that would be the worst. That would be like the worst thing to happen to her.
I do worry about it because I'm just thinking, you know, it's a big moment for her and it's a big transition from what she's used to. And yes, I know she's been training for numerous months and everything, but we're not as worried about her inside the ropes. We're more worried about the character development.
Yeah.
And the first night that she showed up, where she just kept doing this pose, pointing at a sign, didn't fill me with confidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Just going back to what you said there, Smooth, about you would normally expect the pay-per-view to sell out over there.
Yeah.
That used to be the case here. I know it's probably a totally different market because I think they used to selling out every show over here.
Mm-hmm.
But last time around in November, just gone, Raw and SmackDown didn't sell out for the first time in for however long I can remember.
Really?
So yeah, that really think you need to look at the ticket prices. I think that's a big. It's putting people off at the minute.
Yeah, it would be interesting to see what would happen if they did indeed like lower ticket prices and such. Because I mean, not everybody's rich.
Yeah.
I would know. I'm one of them. I'm one of those people.
It's just I find it's probably a mixture of a lot of things, but I do think the creative element of it is. I mean, how much have we said recently that it's like we're just getting the cookie cutter shows every week where we know what we're going to get, and this week was a prime example of completely going in a different direction with this gauntlet match on Raw. I don't know whether this happened to you, Will, because this is a UK thing, but Sky, yet again, didn't record Raw for me.
Yeah, I was actually quite lucky because they did send a tweet out, which I've never seen them do before. There was a tweet from the Sky Sports WWE account that said it wouldn't record and to change your recordings.
Right.
I seen it quite late. It was about 11 o'clock on the Monday night.
Right.
So yeah, I was lucky to catch that. But yeah, if I hadn't done it, I wouldn't have recorded it.
Well, it happened to me. I didn't record it, but it was a bit of a blessing in disguise, really, because obviously now they start putting. Yeah, it sounds really bad. They've started putting it on demand, but it wasn't on the Tuesday night. I think it went up on the Wednesday morning. So on Wednesday night, I'd still not seen anything about Raw. I've been caught up with stuff and things have been going on. So. It didn't make much difference, but I downloaded the 3-hour version of it, but obviously they just take all the commercials out of it.
Yeah.
So it was literally like a 2-hour show. And like I was watching this gauntlet match and I don't know, it was obviously there's a lot of commercials in the middle of it, but because it was obviously commercial free, it just said we'll be back in a second, and then we were back. And it just literally, like, you got Cole then saying, my God, Seth Rollins has been in this match for over 50 minutes now. And I'm like, I've only been watching this show about 20.
Yeah.
I just thought that the match wasn't perfect as such. And it was a big ass doing something that long. But just the sheer fact that it was something different.
I was going to say, I liked the fact that it was they did that on TV. It was a bit different. Just a quick point, by the way, if you ever get stuck again, they do repeat it at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday. In full.
And it was probably about 9 o'clock on a Tuesday when I was trying to find it as well.
They never used to, and you used to have to wait till the Thursday. But yeah, they've started doing it at 9 o'clock on a Tuesday now. So.
All right. Well, there we go. It'll probably happen again next week.
Yeah. But I suppose it's a good link to talk about Raw, I suppose.
Yeah, do you want to get into
got any more news?
Talking about Raw?
Yeah.
Did anyone else think that gauntlet match was actually going to be the 3 hours?
I thought it was.
No,
because
yeah.
Again, because it was cutting all.
Yeah.
Because it was cutting all the commercials out, I just kept pressing the button and it said how long was remaining. And it was like, there's 45 minutes left of this program and there's still 2 people to come out in this gauntlet match. It's like, this is definitely just going to be Raw. This is it.
Yeah, I think I'd seen before that the main event was going to be the women's 6-man, so it was kind of in the back of my mind it wouldn't be the whole show. But yeah, I could see if you didn't know that, you could probably think it would be the whole show.
Attacking in the chat as well said that he wouldn't have complained if it was just the entire show.
Yeah, I wouldn't, to be fair. I enjoyed it.
Well,
it was something different for a change.
Yeah.
It was such a good match. I mean, obviously the Seth Rollins, the two matches Seth Rollins in were, it was so well booked. But also as well, I think it highlighted it when we did get back to like the final kind of hour of Raw. It just felt like it went back to being Raw. that last 20 odd minutes of whatever it was without commercials in felt like it was 2 hours long.
Yeah.
In comparison to watching over an hour of a gauntlet match, and it flowed. It was. And normally stuff like that to me is something that I don't get into as much because I don't think there's a purpose to it. If there was something on the line or if there was a reason for the match happening, then I'm normally quite involved in the matches. But when they're just random matches, I don't see the point, so I don't understand why I'm supposed to take interest.
I think we said, and it wasn't just us, when the 3 hour Raw first came about, I think we said if they're going to do the 3 hour Raw, it'd be good if they did like one night tournaments and stuff and made the use of those 3 hours. And I think they actually did for a change this week. Apart from the last hour.
1 second. There we go.
Oh, there it is. He's late. He's
there. Attacker said in the chat, I'm an in-ring kind of guy, so more in-ring work and happy Attacker. Main reason why I spend more time with New Japan Pro Wrestling these days, which I get, because it is. And I know it sounds a bit silly, but I always remember like watching in the 90s when I first started in 97, and wrestling was in a bit of a, it was on the verge of going into the Attitude Era. But if you go back and you watch their matches, they're a lot slower than what they are in the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
They're quite methodical. But also, even though there's the wacky characters and stuff, the actual matches are quite well booked, I think. And when I've gone back and watched some of the stuff from 96 and 97, some of it is ridiculous, obviously. But for the most part, I actually can watch it. And I think large part as well is commentary. Because, you've as much as wacky Vince doing his what a maneuver all the time, you did have JR, but he was commentating on, on actual holds and was coming from the mindset of competitors rather than just talking about storylines and characters.
Yeah.
And it does make a big difference. I mean, I think the reason as well why Seth Rollins came across so well is because you heard the commentators getting excited about it when it started getting to the ridiculous near falls at the end of it.
Yeah.
And when you start to hear someone enthusiastic shouting about something like a fan would be and like we would be if we was in the audience, then it draws you into it.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, what's it going to take to put Cena away? How can Rollins still be kicking out and whatnot?
Yeah.
You said that match, well, you thought that match was well booked. Have you heard who was actually behind the match?
No.
No.
Vince.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I was quite surprised when I saw that.
Right, so who's killed Vince and what? Who's this imposter?
Yeah, he apparently green-lighted it in the first place and produced the whole thing himself from what I read.
Really?
Yeah. I wouldn't have expected that.
Maybe he's in a good mood because of the XFL.
I would not have believed that a little bit. Like, there's some doubt for me to believe that Vince would have been okay with just basically, having like 2 dedicated hours to one match.
Yeah, well, I was as shocked as anyone when I read it, but...
Wow. Taku says, totally agree with commentary. I think NXT is a great example in the WWE system. The commentators put over the talent, the in-ring story, and not argue amongst themselves. That's why JR was great. He added to the match. I mean, there was definitely less bickering back in the day.
Oh, God. Yeah. And, well, the thing is at times there was bickering, but it was the JR and King thing, but there was a chemistry there.
Yeah. It was I know I've... cheek.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I know I mentioned it on the show, but I always remember, and it was one thing that made me laugh really loudly, which is rare for me when it comes to commentary, was when it was the '99 Survivor Series where Austin got run over, and you had the scene where Austin got run over, and then you had JR and King on commentary, and the following match like carried on, and because JR was obviously a friend of Austin, he's like really somber in the next match, and he kept apologizing all the way through the match, and he's like, "I'm so sorry, I might be a little bit off the pace on this, but I just keep thinking back to Steve and hoping he's all right and stuff." And then King's like, well, "Come on, JR, you've got a job to do. Like you know, there's some great in-ring action and all this lot." And, and then towards the end of the match, and JR started to get excited about it. And then King just fired back and went, "Oh, you're all excited. What about your friend who's currently in a hospital?" And it was just, and then you could just tell by the way JR shot back, like, you know, it was perfect. And you're just thinking, it's just that right balance.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but yeah, like Otaku said, like JR did just add to the match, and he made things feel more realistic in the way that he commentated about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. What Otaku said there, it's the two-man system, I think, works better than...
Oh, definitely.
Although, I think as much as we don't like it, I do think I'd miss Corey Graves completely slating Byron Saxon every week. I do kind of enjoy that a little bit.
Speaking of slating, I've only just noticed that the name of this show is A Chamber of Beans.
I saw that too.
I said last week, every show is going to have beans in it at some point.
My God. I'm looking at it's come up on the right side of the screen from the last few episodes where it's got it. And it's like, I'm not quite sure how long you're going to be able to keep this up.
As long as I remember to.
Oh dear. So sorry, I've only just seen the stream just come up with this small paint-looking circle, the bloody logo.
I need to think of more though. Like, I'm going to run out eventually.
Maybe.
See if you can keep it going till WrestleMania.
That's obvious. Beans Mania.
Oh, come on. I was trying to think of a tagline that might have worked with it, so you could have just kept WrestleMania. The biggest brunch of the no, that's SummerSlam. Never mind. I'm gonna go back to bed. But did anything else actually happen on Raw apart from Seth Rollins actually becoming very relevant?
How did you guys like the double feature promos there while the match was still going on? Because I thought that was a nice touch.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah, definitely.
Sorry, I've just seen Otaku in the chat that said one bean in a lifetime.
My God.
Oh dear. Will, I think if you stick around Otaku, he might give you a few more weeks. Yeah, it made sense because obviously the match is still going on, but you obviously want to get the relevant interviews in rather than just having a bunch of them at the end. But yeah, it worked really well. And it's like I say, it made sense the way it was booked and the reasoning. Like, none of them came out of that match looking poor, really. Finn Balor and The Miz didn't exactly have, like, glorious moments in the match, but, you know, Miz was good with the reaction to Strowman. Strowman looked strong. Elias, you know, had the excuse of I'm going to be in last, so I'm preserving my energy and, you know, I'm just going to pick off the bones. Rollins had a point to prove, which is giving him reason that when he limps in and gets battered in 3 minutes in the chamber, he's got an understanding of why he's not won. And Cena used it yet again for his... there was bits of the promo that I can't remember exactly how he said it, but it was just like, oh, it's not what he says, it's the tone that he says certain things, and it's just like, oh, come on, John.
He keeps going on about not having this path to WrestleMania.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
If I don't win the chamber this year, I don't have a road to WrestleMania.
For like the first time in like 15 years or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's all right, John. You got a private jet. Don't worry about it.
There's always next year.
Yeah. Age is just a number, John.
Are we really supposed to believe that he's not going to be at WrestleMania?
No.
All I'm going to say is if he ends up facing Undertaker at WrestleMania, he needs to sort his goddamn shit out.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, Undertaker's match at WrestleMania last year wasn't particularly fantastic against Roman Reigns. So if Undertaker wants to have a better match, and that's the reason why he's coming back, then he needs to have someone that will work with him in the ring and support him as best as possible. Now, in the last, 2 months since Cena's come back recently, all I've seen is a lazy Cena in matches for the most part, who's talking out loud all the way through it, telling you everything that he's going to do. And just looks like he's phoning everything in.
Really?
I mean, I think he is. It sounds awful, and I know that he had a good match with Rollins in this Gauntlet, but I don't want to see shitty headlocks with the Undertaker where he's not even cinching stuff in, and him telling Undertaker what he's gonna do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I think if Undertaker's gonna make this is a big thing if Undertaker has decided to do another match, because it's that send off last year, even though the match wasn't fantastic, the send off was perfect.
Yeah.
And it's a big risk for him to come out and do this again, and it won't have the same impact. And the last thing he needs is Cena not taking, I know we'll take it seriously, but I think I was more wound. Yeah, I think I was more wound up when he did a tweet or something this week where it showed him lifting more weights, and it was like, oh, well done, John. Yeah, just stick another bar on that to lift, because that's the main thing that you need to work on at the minute, innit?
I mean, I think somebody of his stature, with all the stuff that he does for the company and inside and outside of the ring, I think he's allowed to get away with the whole, calling spots as loud as he can. Or not as loud as he can, but as loud as it comes across on TV and such.
He shouldn't be, though.
I mean, yeah, it shouldn't be, but at the same time, who's gonna be the person that's just gonna be like, okay, John, you may want to keep it down in there.
Well,
Vince.
I think
Vince, he probably doesn't care.
Triple H.
I think if Taker was still around on a day-to-day basis, he probably would say something.
Do you know what? I
Yeah.
would love a WWE 24 on the day of WrestleMania if they're two having a match and Undertaker goes up to him and says, "Don't fuck this up for me tonight." I can barely walk. I'm not gonna fuck this up. You better not do. If I hear you chatter in this ring louder than you should do, and you ain't got your hand over your mouth, and when you put me in the STS, stop looking like you're just lounging on my back. It just irritates me, and I'm a hope, and I know it's harsh that. I know that this isn't. I mean, he even said it in his frigging promo that it's no secret that I have other projects on the go. Yada yada yada. Well done, John. But it's you may have the opportunity to have the final match with Undertaker in his career. As big as you think you are in wrestling, and as big as you actually are in wrestling, because you have done a massive thing for it, you also will understand the magnitude of that, surely. So it needs to be the best performance you've ever done, and you need to help him because he'll need the help. We know that he's not the Undertaker of years gone by. So if he's going to put on a match, he needs that support. Yeah. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So the thing that worries me is normally Cena's the one that requires that support.
Yeah, but I think when Cena's in a big match, he does turn it on.
Big match, John.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
No, that's what I mean, and it might be, and I might be overreacting to it. I've just got a concern because of the way he's been in this last few months that I'm thinking, his eyes aren't on WWE full time anymore. He's obviously got things going on, but there's a thing where you can look like you're not interested as much or things aren't happening as much for you, but it's another when you make other people look stupid on TV.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I just say, it's a bit of a WWE cliche now, but he is Big Mac John.
Yeah.
He does. When he's in these big, high-profile matches, he does tend to not phone it in, I suppose.
I'm honestly expecting, like, Cena, like, tomorrow night at the Chamber to have, like, a similar experience that he did at the Survivor Series, where he just basically does nothing and just gets eliminated.
Should we get into that? Should we get into the prediction game?
Yeah, could do.
Because
No.
other than that, no, I like that.
No.
Because other than the 2-hour-long Gauntlet match, which I think was like the longest match on Raw like ever, it had like 9-10 commercial breaks or something like that.
Yeah, it was the longest match in WWE TV.
Yeah, wow.
And what's it, Reigns then? Roland was the longest performance.
Yeah.
Performance.
You had that. You had Nia Jax attacking Asuka. Titus Worldwide defeating the Raw Tag Team Champions with Cesaro and James. We'll get into that in just a sec here, but
Titus O'Neil really annoys me lately.
What's that?
Titus O'Neil just annoys me lately.
Why would
You know why?
I think Titus might be my what's his name? Mojo.
Uh-oh.
Really?
I just don't see the point in him.
Right, I'm marking it down as an early prediction now for WrestleMania that Titus O'Neil wins the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal.
Oh, God.
Just because as soon as I started taking a dislike to Mojo, they decided to make him win a match at WrestleMania, so I'm hoping they're going to do the same for Will.
What's he done since, though?
He's like started beating up the ramp when he's doing his entrance because of his music.
Worldwide.
Mojo versus the Ramp.
It is though, isn't it? It's like just this weird music that just has a lot of banging in it, and he just like starts slapping the ramp. And I'm sorry, I'm so fed up of watching that goddamn American football rolling round like he's cutting you off from walking round the ring.
Okay.
You know when he does the stance, doesn't he? And then he like, as soon as someone moves to the side and shuffles, he like rolls over as if he's stopping you from going anywhere. Like, I'm not joking, Mojo. I could have got out the ring by the time he finished the roll.
I did see there's some talk of who's his mate, the football player? Is that maybe?
Rob Gronkowski.
That's the one. There's talk that he could be coming to WWE.
Oh,
Give
God.
over.
Oh my.
As if I couldn't
No.
hate the Patriots any more than I already do.
Just
Yeah.
no.
I'm hoping Titus wins the world title now.
There's no need for that. Nobody wants to see that.
Normally we start out with the pre-show, but since we are on the subject of Titus Worldwide here and such, we can just start off with that. With them versus the Bar. Titus Worldwide versus the Bar for the tag team champions, or for the tag team championship rather. Excuse me.
Don't worry about it, Cesaro. I'm sure he said that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Bless him.
Titus Worldwide got the win on Raw through like a sneaky roll-up finish, I believe. Which this has been like the second or third time that this has happened, and leading up to a title match here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like every other week they've been like trading like roll.
50-50 booking, yeah.
You see why I don't like him? Sneaky bastard.
But think of all the work he does with the kids. He's the greatest father to have ever lived. You do realise that he's my hero at the minute.
He's not helping me.
That's why I'm picking him for the prediction here. For the prediction
Oh
game.
god, right, Smoot's picked them, so I'm going Bar.
Yeah, I'm going Bar too.
Okay, that's probably
It's
the
obvious.
smart. That's probably the smart call. But I just with Apollo losing his last name and Titus doing a bunch of charity work, I think they're gonna throw them a bone.
Yeah, I'm worried about that as well. Yeah. What's with Apollo? What's it called? Cruz then? What's with the last name business?
They're too worried that everyone calls him Apollo Lose.
No, apparently since the main rumor is since there was that school shooting like a week or two ago, and the dude's last name was Cruz. It was spelled like C-R-U-Z. They don't want that associated with WWE at the moment because it's too much of a firestorm or some shit like that. Because when you think of a school shooting, you obviously think of wrestling. The correlation there, right? Like, come on.
You know, this is the things that irritate me as well, because it's like, I understand what obviously the whole reason behind that, but also as well, like, they will move the earth and change someone's name over something like that, and it's like, that's so minute and someone would never even put them dots together, and yet something that's blazingly obvious and something that they should do, they'll just be oblivious to it.
I think they should have a match between Apollo, Elias, and Big E. All lost the last name.
And Cesaro.
And Cesaro, of course.
Yeah, and then when they should bring JR back, and he should just call them for the names that they don't have. So there goes Antonio with a dropkick on Langston.
They'll bring JR back and just call him Jim, something like that.
Jim. Yeah, you'll just have Michael Cole sat next to him and go, "Hi, Jim," and you just see JR look at him as if to go, "Don't use my first name."
We're not on a first name basis, Michael.
Yeah. I would love it. Sorry, this is a tangent, but do you remember when JR turned heel in like the Attitude Era, and he got like that announce table made in front of the announce table?
Yeah.
I would lose my shit if he turned up and a load of people started making an announce table in front of the announce table on Raw. And he just decided to take over the show.
I'd be okay with that.
When Adam Cole gets onto the main roster, is he going to be just called Adam, not to confuse him with Michael Cole?
Oh god, yeah, you can't be called Cole. That's taken. Oh no.
You know they're going to do something like that.
Oh. No, they'll change his surname they'll make Cole like a nickname, middle name or something, and his surname will be Baby.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
Moving on. Let's go back.
What a tangent that was.
Yeah. Let's go to the pre-show with Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson versus the Miz Taraj, which honestly, it just seems like a match that's randomly thrown together.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first time I've heard of it, but
Same.
it's got to be Gallows and Anderson, hasn't it?
Let me take a look here. I would assume so, yeah. When was this made?
Wasn't this the one that came out on Twitter on Tuesday?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
You can't be announcing matches like that on Twitter and expect people to care. I think that's also kind of the problem, is that they just throw shit together and expect people to care, and they don't.
It's just like it came out late on Tuesday, and you can just picture them all arriving at Smackdown.
Beans, did you say something?
No, I think Will's mic cut out a little bit.
Oh. Oh, yeah, it did.
Yeah, your voice has gone a bit low, Will.
Let me pan down the music here. No, you still sound about the same.
We can hear you, but only just.
It's like you're really far away.
I'm not.
That sounded like you shouted that from the bottom of a well. I'm not.
I'm not.
This is the JR effect. He's trialing it on our show.
Yeah.
He's replacing us before he does it to Cole.
Apparently.
Hold on.
Okay. No problem. Like I said, I think this is just part of the WWE problem, is that people just are thrown together in matches, and the fans are supposed to care, but they don't, because they don't. You can't have like a random pairing of like, here's Group A and Group B, and then they're gonna wrestle and yay, you know, stuff like that. It's not gonna work, you know. That being said, this is a prime case here. Like, why are they feuding? Why is Gallows and Anderson going against the Mistourage? What's going on between those two teams? Absolutely
Because
nothing.
they think that they're nerds.
Okay, then shoot like a .com segment or something. You know, doing that where they bump into each other backstage and
And
such.
they'll put the camera on what's his face? Michael Jackson wannabe. What's he called? Bo Dallas.
I was gonna say Nakamura.
And then yeah, that'll be the evidence for the nerd thing, and then they'll have that graphic on the screen with the meter, and I'll just want to slowly die.
So who you got?
Can you hear me now?
You're still quite low, Will.
Beans, who you got?
I'm gonna go with Gallows and Anderson.
Yeah, same here. I think they need to win more than the Mistourage, because they can fall back on the Miz's success for the time being.
Or maybe the Mistourage win, and then Miz loses in the chamber, and then the Mistourage comes out on Raw and says, "We won our match at the pay-per-view."
Oh, that would be something. That would be something.
Not that I think it'll ever happen. But...
No, me neither. Will, who do you got from a well?
Mr.
Oh, you sound normal now. All right.
And also, did you just say Mistourage?
Works for me. Works for me.
Is there a reason why you picked them?
No.
Well, that's the best reason I've ever heard.
Same.
Just like there's no reason for this match, there's no reason I picked them.
Right.
Yeah, true.
Let's go.
In this instance, sorry, I always remember the Aliens versus Predator tagline on the poster, and it just said, "Whoever wins, we lose."
We lose, yeah.
So that's the tagline I always think of when I see these kind of matches.
Yeah. Next up, I guess we'll just go right down the card here, is Asuka, the undefeated Asuka versus Nia Jax.
Just before we get into the predictions, how sorry did we all feel for Asuka doing that promo on Raw?
Oh, jeez.
She did her best.
I mean,
That's what I mean. It was just horrible because you know it's a language thing, and it was just like, oh no, she's like getting lost with it, and it's like, oh.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Nia Jax does a lot of caulking.
There's a lot of what now?
Caulking.
Caulking.
Yeah, she said she meant to say talking, but it came out caulking.
Oh god.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest. Like the F1 car went right up past my head then when you said that.
I think Nakamura has a better grasp on. This is how it's so wrong on English than Asuka does currently. Which I take that for what it's worth.
No, yeah, but I mean, there's no real reason for Asuka to speak, really.
True.
She didn't have to.
It was a bad decision to give her a big promo like that.
Yeah.
I think they're just trying to get sound bites, aren't they? But I in them instances, I would have just preferred it if it was like a pre-made video thing, like the Brock Lesnar sit-down kind of stuff. And you could have even just had her speaking in Japanese and just had subtitles, like, you know.
Yeah.
Now I want to see Asuka say that Nia's going to be shitting herself. When you compare it to the Brock Lesnar interviews.
I will beat the piss out of Nia.
Oh my god.
There will be piss. There will be blood.
Oh, I'm gonna play that sound real quick. Hold on.
It was one of the best promos ever.
You can't hear it, but I gotta find it here.
It's worth the wait.
Is it? Okay. Hold on. This one. Oh, come on, why won't it work? Maybe we can play it. Who knows?
I've got it playing in my head constantly.
Well, okay. Well, I think everything. I guess we won't be able to play it.
Everything's just broke.
Everything is just broken over here. Yeah. Oh,
that's because Brock Lesnar got to your machine.
I think he did. He did. Yeah, that's too bad.
I'm gonna pick Asuka.
You're gonna pick Asuka?
Because no one's ready for her.
I think the undefeated streak's gonna stay intact until WrestleMania. So I'm gonna go with Asuka as well. And plus, we've already seen this match before.
Do you know what I'd love them to do, which I don't think they will? I would love it if Asuka wins the title at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And the Ronda Rousey faces Charlotte and becomes champion, or just like they can go whatever way they want, but I don't want to see Asuka and Ronda Rousey at this WrestleMania.
No, God no.
I think it should be built to next year's WrestleMania, and they both should stay undefeated until they meet at next year's.
That's kind of a stretch, though, because I don't know if they're going to be hanging on to Rousey for that long.
She signed a multi-year deal, hasn't she?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, we'll see what happens. We'll see how well she's received to the crowd and such, you know? That's what I mean. Also, here's the sound bit.
Running through John Cena's mind? I don't give a crap what's running through his mind. What's more important is what's running down his leg. Pitt, the guy's scared. The guy's scared. Pitt. He's shitting his pants is what he's doing.
He's shitting his pants is what he's doing. There we go. Otaku says don't waste Asuka on Rousey, and I kind of agree with that.
Yeah.
I think you would have fans just booing Rousey more in that matchup, honestly.
I think it depends on how Rousey is in ring.
That's the other factor.
If she likes, that's why I'm thinking it's a good kind of. I mean, if it's not working, you could always do the match at SummerSlam, do it early. But if Rousey starts becoming like Brock Lesnar at the women's division, which she should be really, then I think her going against Asuka with proper build-up, UFC style build-up kind of thing as well, I think could go down really well.
Possibly, yeah.
Otaku says also if Rousey beats Asuka, I'm done with WWE. Or if Reigns comes out at the end of the Shinsuke and AJ just to shit on everyone. See, I don't mind it. Again, it depends, because if you're thinking about all of the women athletes in WWE, and you're thinking, if this was a real fight, who would you pick? You'd pick Rousey.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of like the Brock Lesnar thing. When Undertaker faced Brock Lesnar and the streak ended, we were all shocked as anything. But also, afterwards, we're thinking, well, logically, it is kind of right. Because if Undertaker did face Brock Lesnar would murder him.
Yeah. Will, who do you got? Asuka or Nia?
Yeah, Asuka.
Okay. Moving right along. Woken Matt Hardy versus Bray Wyatt, which this has been a feud that's been brewing for quite some time.
When you went, then I really thought you were going to like break into the Matt Hardy laugh.
Well, it is not delightful, and it hasn't been wonderful to be watching these two. Yeah, what a waste of Hardy. I cannot believe that TNA nailed like the broken gimmick better than WWE has. Honestly, that's still kind of mind-jarring to me that the TNA character was better in TNA than WWE. Honestly, yeah, this was done on the Raw 25 show too, where it was like one of two matches where they had it in the Manhattan Center because. Don't even get me started with that either. Don't even get me started. Anyway,
I think this is the reason for the poor ticket sales.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you was in that Manhattan Center and you had like the Sixth Sense, as soon as you hear that siren at the start of it and saw JR and King doing that opening, you'd have just gone, right, I've had me like nostalgic film. I'm gonna go to the Barclays now.
I feel like if Matt Hardy doesn't win here, I think the gimmick is done. Because he's been losing like way too much on normal TV. Either to Bray Wyatt or just random matches in general.
Yeah.
So, and honestly, since it's a pay-per-view, Bray Wyatt loses on pay-per-views typically. Gonna go with Hardy.
Yeah, I'm going to pick Hardy as well. Attacker in the chat also as well said Bray has not been good since Mania with Orton, ? To be honest, I don't think Bray Wyatt's been good since he faced John Cena at WrestleMania 30.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with that match with Orton was terrible.
If anything, the whole feud with Orton kind of just clowned on Orton.
I think there was a moment where the build up to that Mania wasn't too bad when they was tagging together, because there was a bit of a, you knew that Orton wasn't with the Wyatts, but he was kind of, when he had that thing with Luke Harper and stuff. That was kind of interesting, the way that they booked some of that.
Where they were playing mind games.
Yeah, that wasn't too bad. Ataku said he'd argue it. But I just had this horrible feeling when he was facing Cena at that WrestleMania that was it. And it's exactly the same thing that what Cena did to Rusev. Because Rusev was on an absolute high. He came out on a fucking tank.
Yeah.
And then he lost to Cena and everything just started going wrong. And I think even, was it Corey Graves or Coachman said on TV that Rusev hasn't done well since his big match at WrestleMania with the tank or something like that. He actually said it on commentary and it was like, wow. And the thing is the Rusev thing, it's kicked off again with this, Rusev Day thing and the fans are behind him. But Bray doesn't get that kind of support. Bray does promos that make no sense to most people and just has all these matches and makes prophecies and talks about how he's a god and everything, and then just loses matches. Every single feud that Bray Wyatt's ever been in, he's lost.
Yeah. And also,
he's never backed anything up he's ever done.
Going back to the feud with him and Orton, while some of the promos and whatnot were kind of clever with Orton playing mind games and such, this is the same feud that also had Orton basically having a refrigerator fall on top of him in that House of Horrors match. And
you do love that fridge, man.
Yeah, I can't get over it. And then Orton in that match at WrestleMania lost to basically projections on the ring canvas.
Yeah.
Like,
no, didn't he win?
Did he win?
He won the title.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
So it backfired on
yeah.
Bray. So
yeah.
Bray's big plan was to use a projector, and he lost.
Yeah, the gimmick there. Yeah, it's just. Either way, that was. It started off hot when Orton kind of blew up the shack that Abigail was buried in.
And the cameraman.
And the cameraman that was in there, yeah. But it was pretty much downhill from there.
Yeah, it's like I said, like when Bray first came and he was on his first going through people, like the only time that he won a rivalry early on that was clean was Daniel Bryan. He faced him at the Royal Rumble in a singles match, and I think people expected Bryan to win, and he didn't, and that was kind of like, it kind of put him on the. I mean, he was already on the map, but I mean, it was momentum for him. That favorite word, WWE, over these days. But we all saw him as this possible, succeeded to Undertaker's kind of character, where he could be mystical, and Undertaker didn't come out for 10 years of his career and lose every week. When Undertaker grabbed a microphone or when he did a promo and told you that he was going to, you were going to rest in peace, you did in character terms.
Right.
Yeah.
He backed up what he said he was going to do and became a character that other characters was feared of. And they keep saying that everyone's feared of Bray Wyatt. And why? If you're in a feud with Bray Wyatt, congratulations, you're on a winner.
Yeah, pretty much. Especially if it's at a pay-per-view.
Unless you're Matt Hardy.
Yeah, right, yeah. This is where Jux is kind of needed, because he would pull up the stats on when the last time Bray's actually won a match on pay-per-view, and just solidify our picks better. Which, speaking of, Will, who do you got?
Matt Hardy.
Going Hardy, okay. Yeah,
I really thought I was going to go with Bray after all that.
It's kind of a must-win for Hardy, actually, because if the Woken character is supposed to be treated with any sort of depth to it, he's got to win.
Mm. I think you could still make Hardy lose, but I think it would have to be something like Jeff came out afterwards, and it would reinvigorate him or something.
Something. Either Jeff, Senior Benjamin, Maxwell, anybody.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's just my piece on that. The Women's Elimination Chamber match, which has 6 competitors, including Sasha Banks, Bayley, Mickie James, Alexa Bliss, Sonya Deville, and Mandy Rose. One of these women will either retain or win the Women's Championship. Who do you got?
I'm going to pick Alexa.
Think she's going to keep it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No reason given, just yeah.
Well, I'm just thinking when you list who the people are in, you're not going to have Mickie James win the title just before WrestleMania. Bayley and Sasha Banks are, getting caught up in a rivalry between each other, and I don't see them involved. So they'll cancel each other out. And then you've got the Absolution members, and, obviously, I can't see them putting a belt on them before WrestleMania, so.
I don't know. I think I mean, Alexa's been trying to be buddy-buddy to Mickie James here for like the past couple of weeks. That's got to come to a head at some point. I don't know, like, I do agree with Bayley and Sasha. I just don't know what's going to happen between Sonya and Mandy. Because they can't have, like, a breakdown, you know, weeks before WrestleMania. So it makes me think that they're going to get eliminated early.
Do you know what would be awesome? And this is complete, like, fantasy land, and might not also be very fair. But imagine if Paige was actually cleared.
Oh,
and,
God, yeah.
And she took the place of one of her Absolution friends at very last minute and then won the title. And then she would face Asuka at WrestleMania.
She would, yeah.
Yeah.
That would be badass.
Just saying, that would be epic.
That would
and
be
I don't,
badass.
And I feel really bad because obviously the news with Paige isn't very good. And
Yeah.
it doesn't look like it's ever going to be likely. But it's just it would be a nice combination to see.
It would. It would. I think I'm gonna. Oh man, I think I'm gonna have to agree with you, Beans. I think Alexa somehow retains this, unless it's like a wacky booked match, which I don't think it will be. Will.
Yeah, pretty much everything you just said, Alexa.
Okay. And probably the main event. Who knows? The women might go on last, possibly. But the presumably main event of the evening is the men's Elimination Chamber, which has 7 competitors. Let's see: Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, Cena, Elias, Finn Balor, and I think the Miz. Is that 7? Did I leave one out? I think sure. I'm gonna check.
Finn Balor.
I said that one.
Oh, Elias.
I said
Reigns,
that one too.
Strowman, Rollins,
I think you
Balor,
said
Elias, Cena, Miz.
Yeah, okay, yeah. One of those 7 guys.
Taku said, no discussion here needed. Reigns, cause Reigns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last week's show, pretty much, Chuck said that whoever wins that gauntlet match is probably most likely not going to win in the chamber. And sure enough, Strowman won, which probably means he's not going to win on Sunday, and that breaks my heart. So I think for the prediction game,
I was just going to say, hasn't this been going on for months where you've been guaranteeing that Strowman's going to win this?
Yeah. Oh, God. Beans, who you got first? I want
to... unfortunately, I do have to say Roman Reigns because that's what's been on the cards for months. But there has got to be some very clever booking to get Strowman out of this match.
Okay. Like maybe a sneak attack, or like what do you think?
No, I don't know. I'm not just thinking about losing because I mean he has lost matches before, but also, what has he got at Mania? Do you know what I mean?
Lesnar, yeah.
So, I would love it if the crowd reactions have changed their mind, and they decide to go with Strowman against Lesnar, because in all honesty, that is the match that people will cheer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they kind of ruined it a little bit with Great Balls of Fire earlier last year. Especially when they just had him lose to 1F5 because, hey, they wanted to keep him strong.
Yeah. Or the triple threat with those two and Kane.
Yeah, I mean, that one was kind of... I mean, that was more well booked because, like, they made sure at the end of it you had Braun who, was standing tall at the end of it and screaming at him, you didn't, you didn't beat me. Let me get my double bass and sing a song about it.
Yeah.
But I just find it a bit more difficult in this one because it's the chamber. And I don't see Strowman having a rivalry with anyone else in the chamber at Mania. I mean, the rumor was that it's going to be. Weren't there a rumor for ages saying that the match that they were thinking of doing was Triple H and Stephanie versus Ronda Rousey and Braun Strowman?
It was like The Rock and Rousey for a while.
So, in that essence, then that's nothing to do with any of this match. And Triple H isn't going to pop up in the middle of the chamber and cost Strowman the match, because there's just no point in that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how they get to that. The only thing I can think of is Ronda says, "Oh, I've been looking for the biggest guy in the back that I could find." And then you just hear, "Woo!"
Oh, gosh. I mean...
But you do need to think of a creative way not to damage him out of this match.
Because the thing is, if it's not Strowman, and they are going with Reigns, then what's Seth Rollins going to do? Why was he shoehorned into this to make it a 7-way?
Because Jason Jordan's injured and they got nothing else to do. It's alright, Seth Rollins can like literally take about 4 hours to crawl down the ramp to get into the chamber after his match on Monday. And he can just collapse in the ring and people will still cheer even when he's pinned just because he made it.
Yeah. There was also that other rumor that was supposed to be like Strowman versus The Miz at Mania, which, oof, that would not go over well, I don't think.
Yeah, that's frightening. But again, if you put the title, I could see him doing that actually. You can see him putting the title on the line if Strowman wins the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
Which would be really like. These are the things that irritate me a bit when you've got obvious matches that you want people to be involved in, but they decide not to do it at that WrestleMania, and then that opportunity never comes around again.
Yeah.
It's like this thing with Cena and Undertaker this year. How many years ago did we say that it should have been Cena and Undertaker?
Cena's even said, I think, at around like WrestleMania 30, the dream match was him and Taker.
Yeah, and then it got changed to Lesnar, and everyone was like, "Oh, he'll just beat Lesnar."
Surprise!
And then as soon as the streak was over, then everyone's like, "Well, what's the point in the Cena?" Because the big thing at that time is Cena was still, he was still killing everyone, and it was like that is the ultimate match because it's the one match Undertaker will never lose against a guy that never does lose.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's like they're both losers. Not in a bad way.
For the prediction game, I think I'm gonna go with Reigns.
Chucks is just like Chucks' heart has just skipped a beat wherever he is right now. He better not have just dropped Jack. Chucks, are you alright?
I think Undertaker's gonna fuck with Cena somehow. Like the lights go out or a gong plays or something like that, and it's gonna distract Cena, and that's gonna get him out of the match somehow. Reigns and Rollins probably.
I have another idea with Undertaker's hat and gloves.
Oh my god!
Oh, not his gloves. Sorry, his coat. Sorry. You know, like how the lights go out when the pod thing goes on.
Yeah.
What if, like, when they're like doing the lights and it's doing the thing, and then Cena's chamber goes to open, and you could do it a couple of ways, but like, what if the hat and the coat was inside the pod with him, next to him, and he didn't see it, and then he like has like a complete freak out looking at it, thinking, "Oh my god!" and then someone just like rolls him up and eliminates him.
Yeah.
Or you could just have the lights go out and they come on, and then the pod that he was in, the hat and the gloves are there, or whatever in the thing, and it freaks him out.
There's many ways. Yeah, it gets distracted and loses because of that. I think that'd be the perfect way to do it. Yeah, so if they are going with Strowman and Miz, that takes out both of them. I guess Finn Balor and Elias for some reason could be a thing. And then it may come down to like Reigns and Rollins as like two Shield guys, as like a weird rematch from Monday, perhaps. It may come down to Cena, Reigns, and Rollins. Perhaps
I honestly think that you'll have surprise elimination. I wouldn't be surprised if Strowman gets eliminated fairly early in this.
Yeah.
And you end up with...
I wouldn't say early, because then you're going to lose the crowd a little bit.
Well, I do, but I think that you're going to end up with people like Elias and Miz being like the last two against Reigns, and Reigns wins them because in Vince's eyes he thinks, well, we've got to give Reigns the bad guys to beat at the end, and that'll get him built up for WrestleMania and everyone will love him. Which won't happen.
No.
I'm worried that they're going to get a bit of the Philly response when Reigns wins this. Or if people are just going to go, we've expected it for so long, like, whatever.
Yeah. Will, who do you got? Sorry.
Yeah, I want to say Reigns just because obviously it seems the obvious choice. But just for the last one, I'm going to go with Strowman.
Wow.
Smooth. He's took your gamble.
Oh.
You're going to be so pissed if this happens.
I will be. I will be. I'll be pissed for the game, but I'll be so happy that it would be like Strowman versus Lesnar at Mania.
I'm going to ask a special requirement of you. Please don't tweet me if it does happen, because I'll probably see it before I've watched the show.
Oh, okay. I'll try to keep that in mind.
When you're like completely marking out and then like horrified at the same time.
Yeah. So there you go. That's the prediction game. Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways they can go with it, with the main event there. Like, if Cena is going up against the Undertaker at WrestleMania, I think that would be a great idea to have, like, the hat and coat in the pod that Cena was in as, like, a sign of, like, you know, maybe have, like, the crazy blue light as well in there, because they have redone the chamber.
Mm.
And they could get away with doing that.
I don't think we'll see Taker tomorrow.
I don't think we will either. I'm just thinking you would see like the clothing, or maybe hear the gong and the lights out stuff, perhaps, just to fuck with them. But no, I don't think you see him.
Cena being on Raw and doing the whole "I've got no path to Mania anymore."
My path.
Yeah, you can see doing it. Yeah, I have nothing I can do that this year's WrestleMania. I've got nothing left. And then Undertaker just comes out and you're like, for fuck's sake, this is as basic as it gets, isn't it, WWE?
He'll say something like that. There's one thing I've never done, which I'm going to have to ask for a match with Undertaker. Some bullshit like that.
My career, or my path to WrestleMania is dead, and then gong.
There's one championship I've never held, and I'm dropping to 205 Live.
They could use it. Yeah. So that's the chamber card that we just predicted. It's kind of weird that there's only 6 matches. I think we may see like a surprise one on there, perhaps.
Probably, but it probably means the chamber matches are going to be a bit lengthy.
Yeah,
I think so.
I think it's a good thing that, you know, the pay-per-view before WrestleMania, you always have matches where you've got numerous people that can change things up, just so that if, you know, you need to, you've got different directions you can go in.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
I've just noticed in the description of this week's show as well that it says ahead of tomorrow's Elimination Chamber.
Really?
Yeah. So I think we should call this the Elimination Chamber. That's like some kind of Matt Hardy shit going on there. It's really just a typo. But...
Yeah. Shut up.
Hey, it's all right. I've just because I'm not really looking at many things. I've kind of been looking at it for ages, but not actually seen it. It was only when I actually looked at it.
I was gonna point it out, just be like, hey, here it is, or like right here's a missing eye.
See, like, oh, for God's sake, he's drawing again. I just mentioned it, like, you know, I'm not like circling it with a big yellow marker. It's putting a big arrow to it.
Let's see.
Have we got any like out there predictions to add to the bottom of the?
I don't know what there would be in that regards.
Will the chamber have that ridiculous big foam padding again?
Oh, yeah, I would assume so. Yeah. I don't think they would. I don't think they would swap that out, considering how, I don't want to say homogenized, but that's a big word. How safe they want to play it, basically, inside of a structure that's supposed to shorten careers.
Yeah.
Thanks, Will.
You're welcome.
Otaku's asking how long of a segment will the Ronda Rousey contract signing be?
Depends if you remember what you're supposed to say.
That's also true.
I mean, there needs to be more. If she just comes out and they just sign the contract, like, what the hell?
Could go on for quite a while because you've got to assume Kurt Angle's going to be there as well.
Oh no!
He'll forget what he's supposed to say.
Here comes Vicky James to challenge you at WrestleMania. Oh, bless Kurt.
I think Rousey would have a more grasp on her lines than Angle will. Can I predict that?
Can you imagine if, like, Ronda doesn't think properly and she challenges Charlotte to the UFC Championship? There you go. That's one for your wacky predictions. Ronda Rousey will say UFC instead of WWE at some point. Before I sign this WWE contract.
Oh my god.
And then Kurt will go, I think you mean WWE.
I think she'll sign the paper and then somebody will come out and just be like, I can't wait to compete with you at Mania or something like that,
Do you think Steph's coming out?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think Steph's getting beat up?
There's a spotlight to be taken.
Oh my god.
Well, at least she's not going to introduce us to Monday Night Raw when she comes out on a pay-per-view.
That is true.
Won't put it past her.
I'm trying to think of what other scenarios could happen.
I don't know. I think the main draw, if you will, is probably Steph and Rousey in some sort of match.
Do you think Triple H will be there if they're doing this mixed tag idea for Mania? Possibly. Do you think, like, I don't know, like Rousey goes to hit Steph and she moves and she ends up like spearing Triple H or something stupid?
Sure. Yeah, I mean that can happen. I could see that.
And then Triple H loses his shit, rips all his suit off, and like beats the bloody shit out of Ronda Rousey, and then the pay-per-view just goes off the air.
God no! Flips the table and takes the sledgehammer out or something. No.
Can you imagine the tease?
I could.
Triple H just like caressing a sledgehammer outside the ring while Rousey's trying to get up. That's when you hear the dong. What? Undertaker's final match is to help Ronda Rousey.
No.
And then Cena's just sat in the back going, "You've got to be kidding me."
Oh, that would be such a troll. What a troll job.
And then Vince is there going, "I've got this great match for you, John. It's with The Miz for the Intercontinental title." And then we'll have the Brett Screw Brett episode where Vince will do an interview the following night on Raw when Cena's left and he's got a black eye. Anyway, that's my wacky predictions all done for the weekend.
All right, anything else? Because I think it's time to get out of here.
This is what happened when you name an episode a Chamber of Beans. You can't escape.
That's true. I think I'll do it for this week. We'll try to get Chuck's predictions before the show airs or right as the pre-show comes on the air around that time. So keep an eye out on Twitter for that at the IWC
I hope we don't
Radio.
get his predictions.
Yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
Maybe we just pretend that we don't get them.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know what you're talking
It'll
about.
help. It'll help us all.
It will.
Definitely would. Dude, check us out. Check out us. Wow. Check us out on IWCRadio.com.
All right, Kurt.
Yeah. Apparently, wow, I have the Kurt-itis here, I suppose. IWCRadio.com with all sorts of details, including past shows and such. Give us a like on the YouTube page. Feel free to subscribe if you like what you hear. We're here every week, Saturdays around this time. And yeah, we'll probably be back next week to talk about everything that happened in the Elimination Chamber and out of it as well, I suppose. And till then, we'll see you guys next week. Take care.
Just a quick shout before we go.
Yes.
Thank you to Attacker in the chat, but also a quick shout out to Bradley, who's going through a few things at the minute. So just thoughts are with him and his family.
Yep. Take care. We'll see you then.